and let himself in, and even as he shut the door to, disappeared all remembrance of that brilliant logic and foresight which had so illuminated the recent discussion, and of the discussion itself there remained no trace, save a vague hope, that was now become a pleasure, for days of peace and rest, and cleanness and smiling goodwill. In this mood he tumbled into bed, and fell asleep after his wont in 2 minutes' time, but, contrary to his wont, woke up again not long after in that curiously wide-awake condition which sometimes surprises even good sleepers, a condition under which we feel all our wits preternaturally sharpened, while all the miserable muddles we have ever got into, all the disgraces and losses of our lives, will insist on thrusting themselves forward for the consideration of those sharpened wits. In this state he lay, says our friend, till he had almost begun to enjoy it, till the tale of his stupidities amused him, and the entanglements before him, which he saw so clearly, began to shape themselves into an amusing story for him. He heard 1 o'clock strike, then 2, and then 3, after which he fell asleep again. Our friend says that from that sleep he awoke once more, and afterwards went through such surprising adventures that he thinks that they should be told to our comrades, and indeed the public in general, and therefore proposes to tell them now. But, says he, I think it would be better if I told them in the first person, as if it were myself who had gone through them, which indeed will be the easier and more natural to me, since I understand the feelings and desires of the comrade of whom I am telling better than anyone else in the world does. End of chapter 1. News from Nowhere by William Morris. Chapter 2. A Morning Bath. Well, I awoke, and found that I had kicked my bedclothes off, and no wonder, for it was hot and the sun shining brightly. I jumped up and washed and hurried on my clothes, but in a hazy and half-awake condition, as if I had slept for a long, long while, and could not shake off the weight of slumber. In fact, I rather took it for granted that I was at home in my own room, than saw that it was so. When I was dressed, I felt the place so hot that I made haste to get out of the room and out of the house, and my first feeling was a delicious relief caused by the fresh air and pleasant breeze. My second, as I began to gather my wits together, mere measureless wonder, for it was winter when I went to bed the last night, and now, by witness of the riverside trees, it was summer, a beautiful bright morning, seemingly of early June. However, there was still the Thames sparkling under the sun, and near high water, as last night I had seen it gleaming under the moon. I had by no means shaken off the feeling of oppression, and wherever I might have been, should scarce have been quite conscious of the place. So it was no wonder that I felt rather puzzled, in spite of the familiar face of the Thames. Withal I felt dizzy and queer, and remembering that people often got a boat and had a swim in mid-stream, I thought I would do no less. It seems very early, quoth I to myself, but I dare say I shall find someone at Biffin's to take me. However, I didn't get as far as Biffin's, or even turn to my left thitherward, because just then I began to see that there was a landing-stage right before me in front of my house, in fact, on the place where my next-door neighbour had rigged one up, though somehow it didn't look like that either. Down I went on to it, and sure enough, among the empty boats moored to it lay a man on his sculls in a solid-looking tub of a boat clearly meant for bathers. He nodded to me, and bade me good morning as if he expected me, so I jumped in without any words, and he paddled away quietly as I peeled for my swim. As we went, I looked down on the water, and couldn't help saying, "How clear the water is this morning." "Is it?" said he. "I didn't notice it. You know the flood tide always thickens it a bit." Said I. "I have seen it pretty muddy even at half-ebb." He said nothing in answer, but seemed rather astonished, and as he now lay just stemming the tide, and I had my clothes off, I jumped in without more ado. Of course, when I had my head above water again, I turned towards the tide, and my eyes naturally sought for the bridge.